Come with me on a trip of nearly 2,200 miles to rescue two little dogs named Aretha and Etta from the Madison Ark Rescue Organization in Madison, Mississippi, and take them to their new forever home in Renton, Washington, just outside of Seattle. The first leg of the flight was to take us from Madison, Mississippi to Oklahoma City for the first overnight. There we took a shuttle to a hotel. The two little dogs were just fine on the flight. We're happy to get their first food of the day after we landed and got into the hotel room. That leg of the flight took about 3.5 hours and gave me a good idea that the dogs were going to be good travel companions, and they slept most of the way there, and then they played when we got to the hotel room. The next morning we got up and headed into Albuquerque, which is about a 3.5-hour flight. On the way we had to deal with a few thunderstorms off to the side of our path, but nothing major. And once again the dogs just slept the whole way while I was watching the landscape, the windmills, and avoiding the weather off to the sides. As you can see there, I have NexRad showing storms off to the left side, and a clear path the rest of the way at about 8,500 feet altitude. And then once we refilled in Albuquerque and started heading north around Farmington, New Mexico, we had a lot of thunderstorms on both sides of us. We had to deviate around to the east of one large storm that you can see there to the left, and ended up in the clouds for a little ways on an instrument flight plan. And then we finally got out of the clouds, and then it was fairly smooth and clear the rest of the way. This leg would be about 3.9 hours and would take us all the way into Ogden, Utah. Along the way we passed the Canyonlands area near Moab, Utah, which is a very rugged terrain, the kind of place that you would never want to have to make an emergency landing, but offers some spectacular scenery. The Green River and Colorado rivers come together here. There are also some very interesting potash evaporation ponds that you can see down at the left bottom corner there. And there were some wildfires off to the right side that we avoided. A little bit of thunderstorms here and there that we had to dodge. This is Provo down below. We'll continue to fly north until we get to Ogden. And then we came into the area of the Great Salt Lake. We spent the night, took a shuttle to the hotel, spent the night there, and then got up the next morning in order to head up into Idaho and Oregon for our first refueling stop at Baker City Municipal Airport in Oregon. It's nice to have terrain depicted on my VFR GPS to make sure that I'm at a high enough altitude to clear all of these mountains around the Snake River all the way up into Oregon. And that leg of the trip took about 2.7 hours. Here we are in Baker City, Oregon. Out for a potty break and to refuel the plane. And then at the Baker City Airport, we got the dogs out, let them go to the bathroom and play a little bit, get a tiny little bit of water before we loaded up the plane again. Baker City area is a really beautiful little valley. From there we flew on up over Pendleton and crossed into Washington. And the dogs slept peacefully once again, as they always did. As soon as I start up the engine, they would just lie down and go to sleep. And from Pendleton up into the Yakima Valley on a direct line to Renton, it would take us about 2 hours to get from Baker City up there. Had a little bit of fun with my cell phone. I told it I wanted to drive on the interstate, and so it showed that I was doing 166 miles per hour, and it kept trying to recalculate the route, telling me to turn around, go left, go right, recalculating the route. It would give me speed warnings, tell me I was going way too fast for a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. That was a lot of fun. 142 knots at 11,000 feet altitude. And of course, when you fly from Yakima into the Seattle area, you go past Mount Rainier, or fairly close to Mount Rainier. What a beautiful sight to see that with no clouds obscuring it. From my perch up there at really 10,500 feet altitude. And then once we dove down into the Seattle area, there's the Renton Airport off to the left. Seattle's beautiful from the air. And we landed in Renton, taxied up, where there were two very happy adopters waiting to meet Aretha and Etta to take them to their forever home.